There are at least 3 ways to build most EDH decks. Strong. Fun. 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 And mean. Let's look at the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Jared Carthalion, true heir. And the video starts right now. Special thanks to our Patreon supporters who power our channel. Check out our Patreon for monthly giveaways, exclusive content, and even a starring role in our fan fight series. Link in the description below. Hello and welcome to the day. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome back to another episode of Jake and Joel Are Magic. I am Joel. We're going to talk today about how to build Jared Carthalion. 3 different ways in EDH. But first, if you would, go down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. And if there's a commander that you want me to build 3 ways, let me know in the comments below, and you might see it in an upcoming video. Let's take a look at this commander. Here we have Jared Carthalion, true heir. More like Jared Carthalion, true hair. Alright, there's going to be a couple of those in this video, so buckle in. We've got a legendary creature for 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, that's a 3/3, and it reads, when it comes into the battlefield, target opponent becomes the Monarch. You can't become the Monarch this turn. And if damage would be dealt to Jared Carthalion when you're the Monarch, prevent that damage and put that many +1/+1 counters on it. So we've got a couple of different things that we could build into here. We can make Jared Carthalion a Voltron commander and really make sure that we have Monarch and lean into the second ability of preventing damage that would be dealt to Jared Carthalion. That's just short of indestructible and something that we can definitely use. Other than that, we've got to get Monarch somehow. There's only one way, one card that can give Monarch an instant speed the way we need it to. Because of Jared's enter the battlefield ability, you can't become the Monarch this turn, regardless of anything else you do on your turn, and we want to get Monarch as soon as possible. So giving it to our opponent immediately and then somehow getting it back at instant speed on our next opponent's turn is a possibility, but the ways to do that are very few. Like I said, there's only really one. So we've got to defend ourselves until we can get back around, untap, and get Monarch back and make Jared the true heir. Other than that, he's got some gorgeous hair, doesn't he? For the 3 ways that I would build Jared, let's look at a strong way and lean into the Monarch theme and reclaim the throne so that Jared has got that damage prevention. For the fun way, let's make a L'Oreal deck and really make sure that we've got the most gorgeous hair at the table. And for the mean way, I would say let's go Voltron completely and exact our vengeance. Let's look at the strong way. I said in the opening that there's only one way to give Monarch at instant speed, and this is it. We can have Throne of the High City on the battlefield, pay 4, tap it, sack it, and we become the Monarch. So we can, on our next opponent's turn, with this card, become the Monarch at instant speed. It's going to put a big target on our back, but it's also going to make sure that Jared receiving damage doesn't actually happen, and our commander grows instead of dying. Throne of the High City is a great way to do it. We've also got these cards, Courts, from Commander Legends. Court of Heirs of 5 cost enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. And at the beginning of your upkeep, it deals 2 damage to any target, and if you're the Monarch, it deals 7 damage to that player or permanent instead. So not only are they on theme, but they're powerful as well. Court of Grace is only a 4 cost enchantment. You become the Monarch when it ETBs, and at the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 white creature token with flying. Straight up, you're always going to get that. But if you're the Monarch, that's a 4/4 white angel token with flying instead. Pretty mean if you can take and keep Monarch. Court of Bounty, 4 costs, enters the battlefield. Same thing, become the Monarch. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That's already huge. But if you're the Monarch, instead make it a creature or land from your hand onto the battlefield, which is even crazier. So those are the 3 courts that we can run in our deck. We also have Palace Jailer and other cards that'll allow things like this, becoming the Monarch on an ETB. Palace Jailer I like a lot. 4 cost 2/2, enters the battlefield, become the Monarch, and when it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls until an opponent becomes the Monarch, and then that creature returns to their play. A little side note, there was one game I was playing recently where someone got a Palace Jailer on a Mimic Vat, and so they were able to have that ETB over and over again, exiling a creature an opponent controls until an opponent becomes the Monarch. It got pretty brutal when you combine those 2 cards, so I just wanted to point out a nice little 2-card combo. We've also also got cards like Crimson Fleet Commodore, lower power level, but it does guarantee that we're the Monarch on an ETB for just 4 mana. And Palace Sentinels does the same thing, 4 mana only to become the Monarch straight up. Those effects in limited numbers can really be powerful in your deck. You don't want to overload with low power cards like this, because really all you're doing is paying for having something that maybe you can sacrifice, and if an opponent is forcing us to do something like that, especially since we have sort of a Voltron aspect to this deck. But it's 4 mana to become the Monarch straight up, and I kind of like that. Also worth noting that with Mimic Vat, that instant speed become the Monarch, you would be able to do that once on one opponent's turn before you come back around to untap with Mimic Vat and one of those last 2 creatures imprinted. Emberwild Captain is a 4-cost 4/2, enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Whenever an opponent attacks you while you're the Monarch, the Captain is going to deal damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand, so it's just more residual damage and benefit from being the Monarch. We've also got Skyline Despot, 5, 6, 7 mana for a 5/5 flyer, enters a battlefield, you become the Monarch, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if you're the Monarch, put a 5/5 flying dragon creature token onto the battlefield. There's a lot that we can take advantage of while we're the Monarch if we can get it and keep it. We're also going to have a big target on our head though, so you've got to protect yourself a little bit, and we can do that with also Monarch synergistic cards. Archon of Coronation, 6-cost 5/5 flyer, ETBs, become the Monarch. As long as you're the Monarch, damage doesn't cause you to lose life. So there will be creatures attacking you, dealing damage and taking Monarch, but you don't take combat damage when that damage goes through, and we're able to not retain Monarch, but prevent damage to ourselves while other opponents are going to be wanting to steal Monarch. We've also got things like Dawnglade Regent that can protect our entire board, 7-cost 8/8, when it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, and as long as you're the Monarch, permanents you control have hexproof. So targeted removal and things like that are not going to work on us until they get rid of Dawnglade Regent. That's how I would build the Monarch version of this deck. Past that, you're going to want to put in some protection, some of the standard stuff in white that's going to pillow fort you up a little bit. Use red for your removal and use green to ramp so that if Jared does die, you can recast it, get Monarch somehow again through any of the means that you have, and keep on going. That's the strong way. Let's look at the fun way and build a L'Oreal deck. So the entire point of this deck is to have the best Heir at the table at all times. Jared Carthalion really up there on tier list S+ Heir for a commander, and there is a bunch of cards that we can put into this deck to back that up and make sure we retain the Heir crown. Sarah the Benevolent, my goodness, look at those locks. That is excellent Heir. We've also got Eternal Witness, good card, better Heir. That's what we're going for. L'Oreal deck. We've also got Elvish Mystic. Look at that mane. Elves in general have just like the best, thickest hair. Look at that. That's a lot of hair to maintain. Look at Arbor Elf. That's down past his rear. That is quite another mane. Also good for ramping, but hair deck. That's what we want to do. Azusa, Lost but Seeking. Extra lands onto the battlefield. Extra hair equity in your deck. Look at that flow. That is excellent. That is just gorgeous. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, that hair is literally gold. Or light. Either way, it's impressive. Light or gold. Very good hair. I have to say, Thalia Heretic, I think just kind of across the board, Thalia's got some of the best hair in the entire game of MTG. Jared's here to make a case for it, but Thalia has been killing it on the reg with these locks. Champion of Lambholt, that's a main right there. A little bit needs a haircut. Got some nice braids going down by the side. Pretty good hair for the hair deck. Chandra Torch of Defiance, that hair's on fire. That hair is on fire. That is fire hair. That is good. That is good fire hair. I like that fire hair. Nayeth of the Dire Hunt, look at those dreadlocks. This is impressive. This has been maintained. This was planned. This has been a long time coming. Nayeth takes good care of it, and as the alpha of her pack, has to have the best main. Those are the hair cards I could find, y'all. I need you to do something for me. I need you to go down into the comments. Let me know what card with wonderful, beautiful hair I have missed. We need an entire deck list for this hair deck. It won't be competitive, but it will be weird. Let's bump to a more viable strategy and look at a Voltron deck built around Jared. If you're building Voltron, you want one creature attacking, and that's your commander. We want to set them up with a lot of protection. We want to set them up with a lot of powerful artifacts that's going to increase the power, increase the damage being done, make it unblockable, and that's what we're going to do with this build. We'll start with Silent Arbiter. No more than one creature can attack each combat. No more than one creature can block each combat. This is great. There's going to be chumping. Chumping is going to be an issue for a Voltron deck, but we're going to put some stuff into the deck that gets us around chump blocking. But Silent Arbiter is going to make sure that a bunch of creatures can't gang up and take down the commander together, as only one creature will be able to block. Bastion Protector, this is what I'm talking about. Indestructible. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have indestructible. I like this card because it pulls double duty. One of the weaknesses of a Voltron strategy is sacrifice effects. Opponents forcing you to sacrifice that Voltron commander. It doesn't matter how much hexproof and indestructible and all the stuff that we've got on the commander if they make us sacrifice it. And so having other utility creatures that work you towards your goal but are also sacrifice targets, pretty excellent. Bastion Protector does that job beautifully. Gives our commander indestructible when they're on the battlefield, but if an opponent makes us sacrifice something and we only have these two creatures, it's an easy choice. We sacrifice the Bastion Protector. Boom, done. We have to. We don't want to sacrifice our commander. Really a big fan of that card in a Voltron build. As a part of your 99, I think Ketis could fit into a deck like this as well. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent as well. So we're able to get more damage out of our big Voltron commander swing. We can also run Open the Armory. This is a tutor for an aura or an equipment. You should probably have a plan on how you're going to win with a Voltron deck. It's kind of a hard strategy nowadays to pull off successfully. But if you can assemble the right pieces, you should be able to do that. And Open the Armory, being a tutor, lets you go and get those exact pieces, whatever your game plan is. If it's double strike, unblockable, whatever you need, whatever you haven't drawn, Open the Armory is going to let you go get it. Swiftfoot Boots is a classic. This has given us hexproof. This has given us haste, little protection from targeted removal. Commander's Plate gets +3/+3 and has protection from each color that's not in your commander's color identity. Jared's a 3-color commander. This isn't probably a deck that I would normally say Commander's Plate would be good, but getting protection from black and blue is still really good, especially for a +3/+3 as well, and it only costs 3 to equip and 1 to play. I do think there is some viability for Commander's Plate in this deck, even though it is mostly aimed at monocolor commanders, 2-color commanders maybe. I do like it in Jared Carthalion. I also love Darksteel Plate. I talk about this card all the time. It's indestructible. The equipped creature's indestructible. It does what you need it to do. 3 mana to play it, 2 mana to equip it. This is a huge equipment for you and will keep your commander from dying in board wipes. Black Blade Reforged. I kind of think in the art of Jared Carthalion, that sword sort of looks like Black Blade, so it seems a little on theme for us to be running the Reforged version. 2 mana to play it, 3 to equip the legendary creature, and it gets +1/+1 for each land you control. It doesn't check for types of land, just each land, period. Wildly powerful. The only thing this card's not giving is trample. We can get trample in multiple ways. Sword of Vengeance has all of the keywords on it that we want. The +2/+0 is fine, but First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Haste, those 4 in combination with something like Darksteel Plate to also give it indestructible, we're suddenly having a huge threat that is going to get over any little chump blocker that may be thrown in front of it. 3 to play, 3 to equip. This card is definitely a part of any Voltron deck. You make sure you run this. And then Avoidance. I was talking about Trample. We also can just go unblockable. There's not a lot of commander decks that don't run non-basic lands. I don't think there's many at all. Trailblazer's Boots is a 2-cost equipment with a 2 equip that just says equipped creature has non-basic land walk. So they're going to be unblockable if our opponent controls a non-basic land. This is an absolutely critical piece of equipment in a deck like this. You've got to make sure that the attacker can get through. We're just trying to get to 21 commander damage on each opponent, and then we win. And so if we're able to get that through, powering up that power, using things like Sword of Vengeance, giving it double strike through things like Shriekmaw, make sure that your opponents are getting that lethal commander damage dealt to them, because they won't be able to block if you're running something like Trailblazer's Boots. That's the strong, fun, and mean ways that I would build Jared Carthalion True Heir. Let's close the book. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, leave a comment down below with a commander that you want me to cover 3 ways in the future, and you might see it in an upcoming video. Also, let me know if you're building Jared Carthalion. This is sort of an interesting commander, fairly narrow. We want to make sure that Carthalion is attacking. We're not getting any other benefits unless Jared is like defending us or attacking on our behalf, and so we really want to build it that way. Let me know more Heir cards in the comments as well. We got to keep putting that list together. Other than that, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you like the video, and I'm tapped out.